Saturday, the 28th of November, 2020. So let's talk about Kid by the Side of the Road. I'm going to talk about Field McConnell. And we all have different paths, okay? Everybody, we all have different paths. I'm just really happy about this book coming out because I have thousands of books and periodicals, and it's a good summary to get on board. And it's kind of funny with technology. That's a MacBook Pro, I think 5 terabytes, and that is that's a Newton. That's I think before they used the word device. So I'm just kind of going to go through this rather quickly because my new best friends, are people that are into the Constitution, and it's a little frustrating because some of my best friends, they don't understand the whole movement, they don't get it, and generally they don't have the time. They're hardworking guys and people. They don't have the time to figure it out. But some of them do, and that's why I'm kind of grateful to YouTube right now and talking to you folks. So let's start. So Field McConnell, I found out about him and started listening to him. He was on like 2 or 3 times a week, and he'd speak first of all with this guy that did the investigations for Schlumberger, and then they split, and Field just kept going, fearless. You know, he said he didn't want to fly people over to Hawaii anymore. He was bored of that. And he has an incredible memory with dates. But on a date, he said, "Okay, Christ, what do you want me to do?" And I think it was something like expose evil. And Field's just been completely fearless. So, in memory of what just happened with John, look, I got a London Times from April 13th, 1960. And he was still in his mommy's tummy. And then he came out a few months later. This guy right here. And so once Field said that and I picked up on it, I started, watching the magazines, to watch everything. And this guy here, I'm not proud to say it, but there was a fundraiser for Bob Dole here in Utah, and I shook his hands at the fairgrounds. I probably should wash off my hands an awful lot because of that. Okay, so first of all, I love the Constitution, and that started with basically being a Mormon, the Book of Mormon, okay? And then that led to Cleon Skousen, who was amazing. And here's a little picture back in the day, Roy Fritz, and I'm working with Cleon. I think that's when he signed my book. But Cleon was an amazing teacher, a loving guy, and if you thought the Constitution was boring, he brought it to life with his Miracle of America, Making of America, Naked Capitalist. Cleon was amazing. And one of the first things when I first started understanding about international banking was the Freeman Digest, when he went through the whole thing. He talked about the banking dynasties, David Rockefeller, all kind of stuff like that. So this is a Christian nation, and it's for people that believe in Christ. That's what it was set up for. And there might be a lot of denominations. I don't go to church right now because I don't think I can learn much about the Constitution. And some of my best friends that know the most about the Constitution are, frankly, Catholic and born-agains. I do know some Mormons that know a lot about the Constitution, but it's not nearly as popular here as it is with, like, probably Alabama and back in the South. So Cleon got me going on international bankers. Then he started studying the Federal Reserve, okay? And then I like numbers, so pretty soon, yeah, it's a private, for capital corporation. For a profit corporation. And Cleon is so funny. He just was so funny. He goes, "Yeah, but a couple things happened in 1913. The Federal Reserve was born and I was born." He was so funny. And then during this whole time, Ezra Taft Benson was the president of the Mormon Church then. And I loved him. He loved the Constitution. Let's see. Look at this. "We, the blessed beneficiaries, likewise face difficult days in this beloved land, a land which is choice above all other lands," Ether 2:10. "It may also cost us blood before we are through. It is my conviction, however, that when the Lord comes, the stars and stripes will be floating on the breeze over this people. May it be so, and may God give us the faith and the courage exhibited by those patriots who pledged their lives and fortunes that we might be free." So, I love President Benson. I'm sure he's still alive. I had some other things over. I'll just get to it when I get to it. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I get in the Constitution because I go to church and the Mormons are going to save it. And then when I start working with Cleon, hardly any Mormons go, especially the more well-educated, supposedly well-educated, the more they shun the whole thing. And so, Brave New World, just a quick thing on that. And I love the way Field jumps around. I think that's the way to teach. Just go by the heart and the spirit and teach what you're going to teach. But Brave New World is pretty disturbing. There's one part in it where they have all these babies and they put flowers out on the floor. The babies crawl towards the flowers. And just before they touch the flowers, they get a shock. And they do this repeatedly until the babies hate flowers. What kind of sick, horrifying person does that? But there's people that do really bad stuff. That's why you got to know the truth. You got to know the truth. And you got to know your enemies. Okay? You can just check out and say, you know what, I'm never going to take the red pill. I'm just going to hang out, in the Matrix. And most people are like that. But like Juan Savin's been teaching us, and people that know the Constitution know this, we're free because of a handful of patriots. It wasn't 50% of the nation. And like Juan's been saying, and Sydney's been saying, and that fantastic attorney out of Alabama that's working so hard right now, this is a moment in history, okay? It's important to know your enemy, to know the truth. And yeah, when you get in that book, I bought that book, I found it in a used bookstore, and I couldn't believe it when you get down to it, who it says the God they worship is. You've seen it before. I've got it marked, and it's amazing. That that book's crazy. And, oh boy, just a lot to it. And then, wow, what a great guy, the humanist. So you got the humanist or you got the Constitution, okay? And Ted Turner, these guys are all on the same team. They want one world government, 1,000 points of light, BS, and they want to destroy the Constitution. Joseph Smith loved the Constitution, so I don't think we should be arguing about, whether I believe in Joseph Smith or whatever. We all believe in Christ, okay? He walked the Americas, that's true. He walked the Americas. The Nephites, just a lot to it. Adrian brought up the prophecies of Nostradamus. So here's a good one to have. I got it from the John Birch Society, of course. And I got this from a truck driver. Billions for the bankers, debts for the people. So what makes Harvard crimson? Well, the commies, here it is. So when I go back to Harvard, I'm kind of like, I've been working with Skousen, I'm gung-ho on the Constitution. And I get there with Mitt Romney and Roger Porter and all these guys, and they basically thought Benson was a hayseed. So that's when you start asking yourself, whoa, here I'm going to church I'd never miss, and these guys that quote intellectuals at Harvard think that Benson is a hayseed. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So they moved from Appleton, Wisconsin to Boston, and Jack McManus. Those of you who know the John Birch Society might have heard of Jack McManus. Great writer, very nice guy. So he gave me this. He goes, here, Brent, here's this is an actual invitation to a dinner honoring Ezra Taft Benson. I love President Benson. He's gone. He's not with us. So back to Field McConnell. Field, and some of you remember this, some of you won't, but he talked about Vatican, and we came to America to escape Catholicism and escape the crown, according to Field. And I tend to trust Field a lot. So this is in that book. You can draw your own conclusions about that kind of stuff. But, it's got a picture of the Snake Eyes thing in here. Committee of 300. Okay, I'll do this. Eldridge Cleaver. I met him. He became a Mormon. Howard Ruff screwed him out of his money and speaking fees. I love him. He's a very nice guy. And he was trained in the communist camps in Cuba. And so this was on the New York Times bestseller list, but he totally repented and became a man of the Constitution. God bless you, Edward Cleaver. Because, boy, he went through the ringer. Oh, yeah, here's Harvard down here. So, of course, Harvard, I got it. John D. Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, all that kind of stuff. Oh, look it. Hey, Field, I hope you watch this. I do. But you know what? actually somebody, because I answer kind of I try to answer a lot of the remarks, and I went and she like gave a 30-minute thing on Christ. It was very inspiring. So this is relevant to right now. Look at, okay, bipartisan objectives for foreign policy. Henry Kissinger and Cyrus Vance, summer 1988. Oh, I used to go up to that great bookstore at Harvard Square and buy stuff like this. But I read Foreign Affairs a few times. I have a feeling Trump doesn't have he's draining the foreign affairs people out of his administration. But big news on Kissinger. He's out. Took a long time to drain that creature, but he's out. Red carpet. Oh, this was one of the best classes. I love it. I loved it. It's called Biggie, the class, and we'd study economic history of the United States. Very fascinating, but you find out we're not in control. Hey, check this guy out. We love you, Donald Trump Jr. I can't believe what the deep states put your family through. What a great family. This guy. Yep, he's right about the triggered thing. They get really triggered, don't they? Yep, they get really triggered. Thanks, Don Jr. Okay, the classics, none dare call Conspiracy. Okay, Keynes at Harvard. Pretty heavy duty book, because what the communists figured out is like, we got to teach economics. We got to teach it, basically everything belongs to everybody. You could have a gray house, and true communism is pretty horrifying if you study it. But they decided to start in the economic department of Harvard in the 20s. They've done a pretty good job of spreading their communist misinformation all over the world. In fact, this guy kind of knew what was going on. Ezra Pound. Wow, what an interesting publication this is. So they put him in an insane asylum. 5,000-year leap. Many are called, but few are chosen. Hey, Clint, what's going on, man? Carmel. So the Harvard thing, it was part of my education, okay? Let's see. Mr. Brent Long. Let me congratulate you on your admission to the Harvard Business School, February 23rd, 1987, by Laura Gordon Fisher. And so I went there, and I was called a skydecker. That's where am I? Yep, there I am, a skydeck. And then, because I've got somebody I really care about in San Francisco, like, you didn't go to Harvard. You're not using your Harvard MBA. Well, I think I am, to figure things out, because Harvard started as a divinity school in 1635. And so look at, there's Arnold St. Malou. And then there's one guy, he wasn't in my class, but he was in charge of City of London. Crazy stuff. And Doug McKenzie's in there. Anyway, something else. Anyway, laws are changing. We're going to get back to common law, so I got to start studying this. And so with all this, with the amount of evidence I've seen, it's just obvious. So when people say, oh, no way. Yeah, way. Just, they don't want to put in the time to study and find out what's going on. What a wonderful thing to have this wonderful man come back. Another thing Field said one time, look at his beautiful wife. Field, he would drop bombshells. He goes, General Flynn's a Democrat, or was a Democrat in the beginning. And I'm like, wow. So Field would drop the bombs. I started going to LDS Church. I'm glad I did. I don't go anymore because I'm for that. And I don't think the leadership is for that anymore. And you can't talk to people here because I think their pineal glands are a little bit calcified. There's some great ones, but the ones I'm meeting are born again. They're born again. And, to think that Cleon's controversial, he's a constitutionalist. He loves our country. Boy, I love Cleon. And I love President Benson. And I went to that school for a reason, to figure things out. And so right now, if I can teach one person, that's why I try to answer everybody's replies and stuff, okay? I've got more books, but I don't have time to do it all. So, man, yep. The mark, it's important to know about that. Yeah, there's, of course, there's life after life. It gets really heavy, but that's something to do around here. Book of Enoch. So I appreciate people watching it. We're interacting because, and I really appreciate the 7 people that showed up to our little get together, because this is a life and death battle. We're really in a plague of corruption, but from everything I see, from my perspective, okay, everybody, is Trump, and it's a military operation, bottom line, the whole Q project. It's to save the Constitution. It's the white hats versus the black hats. Good versus evil. Truth versus error. So, if you just read a little bit of this today, or get some of these and give it to it. This wonderful man gave me one. I've already had several, and I give them out. But God bless him. God bless him. Because we don't want, you rock and roller. Okay, man, what that idiot, he's gone. He was excommunicated from the Jewish faith, by the way. I got a book on that. But we don't want a brave new world, okay? We want freedom. So, folks, thanks for letting me share with you. Yep, the conspiracy is with the black hats right now. So it's time to step up, like Flynn says, like JFK Jr. says, because we don't want to be found being lukewarm right now, or God's going to spit us out of our mouth. That's in the beginning of the book of Revelations. I think I've been kind of lukewarm and not stepping up to the plate, especially with everything I've kind of been able to learn. Let's fight the dark side. Let's have Christ win. And folks, this whole earth life, there is a heaven. It is about this life, but it's about the next life. When Christ comes down, he's going to be our judge. And you say, you know what? I was just chilling. It was too controversial. I want to be a normie and have my friends and just enjoy life. Well, Trump's not like that. This guy's not like that. I don't even want to talk about that. I'm not even going to talk about that. Bad guy. So, got 7:17. Oh, I didn't quite hit it. I'm going to close on 7:17. Ciao.